Boogeyman band coming round the bend. Is boogeyman band. Is boogeyman band.
Greetings to fellow Fright Fiends. Thanks so much for dropping by the Horror Zone channel. I hope everyone's doing well. Growing up, one of the most important films in my life was 1982's Creepshow, directed by George A. Romero, of course based on the stories by Stephen King. That film meant a lot to me, and it was kind of, again, one of those movies that kind of catapulted me into becoming a horror fan. It was one of those films that just made a huge impression on me. I was already a fan of comic books. I collected Marvel comics when I was a kid, The Incredible Hulk primarily, but I was a big fan of monster books. I wasn't familiar with EC Comics at the time, so I thought that, I didn't understand that the inspiration for Creepshow was those old EC Comics. And prior to that movie coming out, they did bring out this book. Now, this is my original book, so it is pretty bad looking. But they brought out this as a companion to that movie. I carried this book around with me religiously until Creepshow came out, and that's why it looks as haggard as it does. But this book was well loved, but I did buy the newer release of the book back in 2017. And yeah, this is one of my prized items. I love this book. I just remember being so blown away by this when my mom bought it for me. And she bought it for me because I was a fan of Stephen King from, of course, Salem's Lot. And I got the book during the summer of 1982, and the movie wouldn't come out until November. So I remember just reading this book and really being curious about the fact that it said a very scary movie. So I knew it was going to be a movie that was coming out. I was excited for it. And in the movie, the comic book that, of course, the father, played by Tom Atkins, throws in the garbage looks like that. So I kept thinking, oh, there's a bunch of Creepshow comics out there. This is just about the movie. There's actually ones out there that have different covers and things like that, not knowing that it was a prop that was just used for the movie. So, I didn't understand, the difference between what was created for the screen wasn't really what was in reality. What was reality was Tales from the Crypt, The Vault of Horror, Haunt of Fear, those books. And they weren't interesting to me because they weren't Creepshow. So when I found out that Image was doing a comic book series mostly inspired by the Creepshow television series that's on Shudder right now, I was really excited to see what it would be like. As much as I love Creepshow and Creepshow 2, I'm not a huge fan of the television series. There are a few episodes that I do like, but it's primarily why you haven't seen me cover it here on the channel. I've watched them. Like I said, there's some that I really enjoy, but for the most part, I'm not a very big fan of them. I don't know why. Even though they've changed a couple of elements up, most notably the music. I have noticed in the later seasons that the music sounds a little bit more like John Harrison's score for the original film, but they just don't grab me like the movies do. And it could just be because I grew up with them, but they just don't have that Creepshow feel to them. I think the closest thing to a Creepshow television series was the Tales from the Crypt series, which was so masterfully done by HBO starting back in the late 80s. I loved that show all through its 7 seasons, and even the movies that came out being Demon Knight and Bordello of Blood. The Creepshow series just doesn't do it, and no disrespect to Greg Nicotero and everybody that's working on it, I just can't get into it like I can the movies. But that being said, I absolutely adore this comic book, and I will show each of the covers. So here is issue number 1. Now, issue number 2, I had to get the second printing because I couldn't find the first printing. So issue number 2, issue number 3, right there. Issue number 4, and finally issue number 5. This is the last issue they've put out. They are supposed to be bringing the series back. I'm assuming it's going to be later this year. I don't know for sure, but they do have a trade paperback with all of these issues, and I have seen it. When I went to A1 Comics a couple of months ago, I saw it there. I almost bought it, but I was like, I already have the books, and these are very rereadable. Each book has a different creative team behind the story and the artwork, and they're all fantastic. But I did pick out the stories I liked the most from each issue. Issue number 1, there's a story called Shingo, and it deals with a kid's birthday party, is all I'll say. And it's a story that just stuck with me after I read it, and it goes into a very twisted place. In issue number 2, I think this is how you say it, the Gorgamora Tree. That's the one that I enjoyed the most in that issue. Not my favorite. Not my favorite book in the series. Probably my least favorite book in the series was issue number 2. Issue number 3, the story Hair, really got me. And it deals with this barber that has like these animals that visit him at night. It's a very creepy story. How it wraps up at the end, I really enjoyed where that one went. Issue number 4, the story Come Out Wherever You Are. That one I thought was really good because it deals with vampires, and I thought that was really cool. And issue number 5 is absolutely my favorite because both stories tied for me. The first story being Thirst Trap and Husk. Those are the 2 stories in issue number 5. And like I said, the artwork is amazing. It really brings you into it. It has that EC Comics feel. And I just thought the books were fantastic. I definitely recommend people checking them out, picking them up if you're a fan of Creepshow. You guys might like the series. I actually think the books are better. I just think that these actually capture not only EC Comics feel, but really feel like they belong with the 2 of my favorite movies growing up, which is Creepshow and Creepshow 2. And cannot recommend these more. Check them out at your local comic book store. Like I said, I think some of them got into second printing, but you can get that trade paperback, which I have seen that is available at most comic book shops. So like I said, something real quick and easy. Just wanted to talk about the Creepshow comic book series. I had wanted to do it a couple months back, but just didn't get around to it. Let me know if you're a fan of the book series, if you collect it. Again, it's put out by Image Comics, and each issue has a different creative team that is doing the stories and the art. I think it's really well done, and I cannot wait to see what they're going to do next, what the volume 2 or issues 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are going to be like. So yeah, check it out. Creepshow comic book series. Again, one of my favorite comic book series that I've read this year, and I definitely recommend it to fans of the movies. If you're fans of the television show, you might really like it as well. And also, let me know what you think about the Creepshow television series on Shudder. Do you guys like it? Do you think it just doesn't compare to those original films? Just curious to hear what everybody thinks about it. Comments down below. Would love to hear from everyone. And as always, thanks so much for dropping by the Horror Zone channel. And I'll talk to you again real soon. Take it easy. Stay scared as always. Peace. Hey fellow Fright Fiends, just want to say thank you again for supporting Boogeyman Ben's Horror Zone. If you're brand new to the channel and you haven't yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button down below, hit the bell notification so you're updated every time I drop a new video. I typically do this once or twice a week with new content. Been doing this for over 11 years, and the horror genre is a passion of mine, and it really means a lot to me that I can share that passion with all of you guys. Thanks so much again for the support, and I'll talk to you again later. Take it easy, stay scared as always. Peace.